Let's be real. Dating is tough. Ghosting, awkward first dates. It's a jungle out there. But what if I told you that it used to be so much worse? I mean, a time when the most powerful person in your country, the king himself, might just decide that love, romance, and dating were illegal. Today, we are diving into the strange and terrifying stories of 6 rulers from history who, for a reason, waged a personal war on romance and give a good punishments. On number 1st, Emperor Claudius Gothicus, who ruled Rome in the 3rd century. Now, Claudius wasn't against love because he was a bitter old grump. He was a military man, and he had a very practical problem. Rome was constantly at war, and he needed a huge army of tough, focused soldiers. In his mind, what was the one thing that made a man soft? What made him want to stay home instead of marching off to fight? Love. Claudius believed that lover soldiers were distracted soldiers. They were worried about their woman going back home, which made them hesitant and weak in battle. So, he came up with a simple, brutal solution. He outlawed marriage for all young men. No weddings, no wives, no problem. A priest named Valentine saw this decree as a gross injustice. He believed in the sanctity of love and marriage, so he started performing secret weddings for young soldiers and their sweethearts. When Emperor Claudius found out, guess what? He stopped all his places and hit the heart of soldier. Then Valentine was arrested, tortured, and eventually executed on February 14th, the ultimate anti-romance power move. But the story of the priest who died for love lived on, and he became Saint Valentine. Now on 2nd, we have King Henry VIII of England. A king who wasn't against falling in love. He was just against staying in love and forgetting that you have to love your king. Henry wasn't against romance in theory. The man fell in love more times than most people change their socks. The problem was what happened when the romance faded, or when his love for a woman became inconvenient to his political goals, namely, getting a male heir. When Henry wanted something, love was his tool. But when love stood in his way, it became his enemy. His first wife, Catherine of Aragon, he loved for over 20 years. But when she couldn't give him a son, he left her, and he fell in love with Anne Boleyn. But then, Anne Boleyn also failed to produce a son. Suddenly, that all-consuming love vanished. She went from being the love of his life to a traitor accused of witchcraft. Then he came up with Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour gave him a son but died, so she got lucky. He divorced Anne Boleyn, who failed to give him a son, and because he thought she was ugly. He wasn't against romance, but when he couldn't get what he wanted, he left it away in the most brutal way. 3rd is Spot, Mughal Badshah. Mughal king, so picture this. Taj Mahal, the world's most famous monument to love, built by Emperor Shah Jahan for his beloved wife. Now, imagine being their son and seeing that and thinking, this is all ridiculous. Meet Aurangzeb, the 6th Mughal emperor. He was the complete opposite of his romantic father. Aurangzeb was a deeply devout and austere man who saw love, passion, and all the arts that came with them as decadent, distractions from a life. When he took the throne, he essentially declared war on fun. In Aurangzeb's empire, the public expression of romance was frowned upon. The songs, the poems, the paintings that lovers used to express their feelings were now illegal. Now on 4th is, we're going to the land of Dracula. Let's talk about Vlad the Impaler of Wallachia, a man so terrifyingly cruel that it's hard to imagine love could even exist in his kingdom. Vlad wasn't against love with a specific law. He was against it by creating a state of pure, unrelenting terror. Vlad's entire philosophy was based on absolute order and control. And love is messy and uncontrollable. His method of punishment for any crime, from stealing a loaf of bread to political dissent, was impalement. He would have people hoisted onto giant sharpened stakes and left to die slowly over days. One famous story tells of 2 Turkish envoys who refused to remove their turbans in his presence. Vlad praised their devotion and then ordered their turbans to be nailed to their heads. In a kingdom like that, you don't have time for love. You have time for survival. Joy, affection, and tenderness were weaknesses in a land ruled by a monster, and making him one of history's most terrifying anti-romance figures, not by decree, but by sheer bloody terror. So these were some who did different things, in their own unique and terrifying ways, and tell me, who did I miss? If you enjoyed this weird into history, make sure to love with subscribe, and thanks for hanging out, lovers.
Treason!
Are you ignoring me? This is treason!
Treason!